Have you ever dreamed of being royalty? Wearing a crown, living in a castle, wielding absolute power? It sounds like a fairy tale, doesn't it? But behind the gilded gates and lavish ceremonies lies a history far darker than you can imagine. A history written in blood, betrayal, and the relentless pursuit of power. Today, we're pulling back the velvet curtain to explore the dark history behind the throne, where family ties meant nothing, and a dagger in the back was just another step up the ladder. Let's start in ancient Rome. The name Caligula is synonymous with madness and tyranny, but his rise to power was paved with the suspicious deaths of his family members. He was the only male survivor of his immediate family, with his mother and brothers either exiled or starved to death under the reign of his great-uncle, Emperor Tiberius. When Tiberius died, some historians, like Tacitus and Suetonius, whisper that Caligula and the Praetorian Guard prefect Macro may have smothered the old emperor to expedite the succession. Imagine that, hastening the death of your predecessor to seize the throne. It set a terrifying precedent for what was to come in the Roman Empire. Now, let's journey to medieval England, to the story of the princes in the Tower. After King Edward IV died unexpectedly, his 12-year-old son, Edward V, was set to inherit the throne. But his uncle, Richard, Duke of Gloucester, had other plans. Richard was named Lord Protector, responsible for the young king and his 9-year-old brother, Richard of Shrewsbury. He housed them in the Tower of London, supposedly for their own protection. But then, the boys vanished. Richard declared his nephews illegitimate and had himself crowned King Richard III. What happened to the young princes? The most widely accepted theory is that Richard had them murdered to secure his claim. 2 innocent children, betrayed and eliminated by the very man sworn to protect them. It's a chilling reminder that in the Game of Thrones, even children weren't safe. The lust for power wasn't just a man's game. Let's talk about Catherine the Great of Russia. She was a German princess married to the heir of the Russian throne, Peter III. Their marriage was a disaster. Peter was immature and widely disliked by the Russian nobility and military. Catherine, on the other hand, was intelligent, ambitious, and charismatic. She saw her opportunity. Just 6 months after Peter became emperor, Catherine, with the help of her lover Grigory Orlov and his brothers in the Imperial Guard, orchestrated a coup. Peter was forced to abdicate and was arrested. A week later, he was dead, officially from a severe case of colic, but almost certainly assassinated. Catherine seized the throne, not as a regent, but as the sole ruler, the Empress of Russia. She betrayed her own husband for the ultimate prize, an empire. Let's cross the globe to the Ottoman Empire, where the succession process was particularly brutal. For centuries, the Ottomans practiced a tradition known as fratricide, the lawful murder of a sultan's brothers to prevent civil war and succession crises. When a new sultan ascended the throne, one of his first acts was often to have all of his male siblings executed. Sultan Mehmed III, for instance, had 19 of his brothers and half-brothers strangled upon his accession in 1595. Can you imagine the terror in the palace, knowing that your own brother's rise to power meant your certain death? This practice ensured a stable transfer of power, but at a horrifying human cost, turning the royal family into a nest of vipers where survival depended on your brother's demise. Betrayal didn't always come from a sibling or an uncle. Sometimes it came from your own child. Philip II of Spain, one of the most powerful monarchs in history, had a deeply troubled relationship with his eldest son and heir, Don Carlos. Carlos was mentally unstable and unpredictable, and he openly defied his father, even plotting with Spain's enemies in the Netherlands. Finally, Philip had enough. In 1568, he had his own son arrested and imprisoned. Don Carlos died in confinement 6 months later under mysterious circumstances. While the official story was that he made himself ill, rumors swirled that Philip had ordered his son's death. A father, driven to eliminate his own heir to protect his kingdom. It's a story so tragic, It has inspired operas and plays for centuries. And what about the most famous betrayal in English history? The story of Queen Elizabeth II and Mary, Queen of Scots. These two powerful cousins were locked in a decades-long struggle for the English throne. Mary, a Catholic with a strong claim to the crown, became the focal point for numerous plots to overthrow the Protestant Elizabeth. For nearly 20 years, Elizabeth kept Mary imprisoned, hesitant to execute a fellow anointed queen. But after the discovery of the Babington plot, which proved Mary's complicity in a plan to assassinate Elizabeth, the decision was made. Elizabeth signed her cousin's death warrant. In 1587, Mary, Queen of Scots, was beheaded. It was a clash of queens, a battle of faith and bloodlines, where one cousin had to eliminate the other to secure her reign and the future of her nation. These stories are just the tip of the iceberg. From the poisonings in the Medici court to the bloody coups of the Byzantine Empire, history is filled with tales of royal betrayal. The crown, a symbol of divine right and noble duty, has so often been a catalyst for the darkest parts of human nature. Jealousy, ambition, and a chilling willingness to sacrifice anyone, even family, for power. The fairy tale image of royalty shatters when you look at the dark, bloody history that underpins so many thrones. It serves as a stark reminder that absolute power doesn't just corrupt. It can turn a palace into a prison and a family into a group of deadly rivals. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the dark side of history. If you found this fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories you thought you knew. Let me know in the comments which royal betrayal you find the most shocking. Until next time, stay curious.